If we could improve that communication thing, everything would flow much better.
Hello guys, today we are going to talk about the collaboration between designer and developers while building a product. I'm going to ask some questions to a famous designer. Her name is Helen, is famous in Instagram as ui.helen, and let's see what she has to say about the topic. What is the biggest pitfall for designer when working closely with developers?
Well, in my experience, when it comes to the company, not all the time you're actually allowed to go to development room and talk to them because they have their management and you only speak to the team lead or whoever lead they have there. And the communication is pretty poor in companies I worked in. Maybe that's not applicable to every company, but developers are like in this closed room and they like don't really talk that much. If we could improve that communication thing, everything would flow much better. Like what I once made when I worked in a company, I gathered all the development team, design team, and support team, and also the sales team all together, and we discussed we actually had a sprint planning meeting, but it was a sprint planning meeting between all departments involved because was a tiny company. So we had like inputs from developers, what they have faced, like problems they faced, design, support tickets, and also something connected to sales. And this was really good fun. First of all, it was like a team building. And secondly, it actually improved the next sprint. And I was not even relying on that, you know? So I think that if developers will start to say, okay, we need this, and this, and okay, Helen, we can't do this because of that, you know, there is a reason why every single time. So I think the biggest pitfall is communication.
Perfect. So what process is best personally for you as a designer?
Right now I'm working on freelance, and what I do is before I start work, like design work, I ask what software your developers are using for getting the designs. It can be Zeppelin, it can be InVision. Sometimes they ask you for the source file in Sketch or InVision Studio or whatever. So knowing beforehand is really important. Hopefully they don't use Photoshop there, but so asking the right questions, getting the right answers that I understand, and if I don't understand, I ask again. So we can establish the flow. Usually everybody are okay in getting access from InVision because of the code inspection thing, but sometimes it can be buggy, and when you select an icon, it actually selects a line in the icon, so developer has to look for where is this little thing that I can export. Sometimes I have to send them the package of everything that I export from Sketch right away. Yeah.
Do you have advice how developers and design to improve collaboration between them?
It would be very nice if every single client or project that I have when I work with the agencies would actually allow me to speak to developers directly, because you could learn so much from them, because they're pretty technical and I'm pretty technical in my sphere as well. But the thing is that it's not happening every single time. I would say it's happening only in maybe 20% of all the time that I work. So this is not a developer problem. I think this is more like a management problem. But I think that from my experience that I had, developers want to speak out. They seem very closed, and they close their room, but they do want to speak. And if management will give them this ability, that would be fantastic.
So what are 3 things that developers should educate themselves about design, UI, UX, whatever you think? There are 3 things very useful for them.
Okay, so I think that developers and designers in general, I think developers and designers should do what they do, right, and be very specific in what they are professional in. But as I need to know the code limitations and technologies at the very basic level, I would suggest the developer also knows what is usability, what is UX, and they try to think about the user. So they're not just executing what designer has supplied. They're also thinking maybe designer was wrong somewhere. And if they think about the user and they can suggest, then even like designer will say, oh, right, you were right here. I think we need to think about it again, and I will just make edits to it. The good example of this particular case, again, I had in the company where the team lead was not speaking at all. There was a CTO who made the decisions. When I went with the team lead for, I don't know, we just, spoke on the kitchen, I figured out so many things, like it's unbelievable. But so the developers should know a little bit about UX and how to think about the user and stuff like that, and not just execute what designers designers did. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I think it was perfect. Thank you very much for your answer, and I hope like all the developers now understand a bit better like the designer world. I think like we need like to come closer together to create like better products. If you like this video, subscribe, do all the things the YouTuber tell you to do that they are required from you to do. Please do that. And see you to the next video. Bye.